Welcome everyone to Educating Adults, a quick 10-minute Speakeasy pop-up event. In this new world of learning, one of the more important things we need to do is understand how do we educate adults. So I'm going to run through a few top tips in terms of what's worked for me in the classroom and what's helped to engage adult learning. So the first thing is about understanding it's not about you. It's about being student focused, and as soon as you can get over yourself and move on from that and start to focus on the students, the better a journey you will have. So understanding that it's really about student engagement and understanding how do we help adults to learn. Adults are different from children and they learn in different ways. So the second tip is around applying adult learning principles. So adults are different to children. We talk about andragogy and pedagogy. We talk about pedagogy and andragogy in the world of teaching children and teaching adults. So adults and children are different in the way that they learn. Firstly, the level of dependence that they will have on the educator. Adults are far more interdependent or independent. The difference is in readiness, so how ready someone is to learn. Adults can only learn when they want to learn or they feel they need to learn, whereas children can be taught when that's not the case. Levels of experience is very different for adults. So adults will overcome to the class with lots of world experience and life experience that we need to integrate and make use of so that they see the relevance in how it is that we're teaching and what they're learning. And the last one is around relevancy. So adults really need to see that it's relevant for their life, it's actually going to make a difference to them and it has meaning for them. The next big tip I'll give you will be know your audience. So we call this profiling your audience, making sure you have a really good understanding of who it is you're actually teaching, who is in your classroom. Because that can make a big difference in terms of who they are, why they're there, where they're from, and when they got there, and also what do they think of you. So your credibility becomes really important when you're teaching an adult. You need to explain why you're in front of the classroom, how you come to be there, what sorts of professional and educational and real world experiences you can bring to the classroom. So straight away you validate yourself to another adult, just like meeting someone at an event. But then understanding who is in your audience means you get to bring those experiences into your classroom. Next top tip, understanding architecture. Always do things like having an introduction, a body and a conclusion. An introduction that says to adult, with them, what's in it for me? If there's nothing in it for an adult, it's going to be very hard to hold their attention. So why is it important what it is that you've actually got to teach them? Setting the scene, gaining interest, and setting up what it is we're actually going to learn in the body. In the conclusion, it's around reviewing, it's around recapping, and it's around linking to what it is they're going to learn next so that everything makes sense in a sequential order. Next top tip, power of questions. If you're not asking questions, and you can, I dare you, do a whole lecture just using questions. You can do it. It's a ton of fun. Use semi-structured open questions. It gets students and adults engaged, and you can literally deliver an entire lecture using questions if you do give them a chance. So the power of questions is incredible for engagement of students and engagement of adults into the classroom. Next top tip, giving great instructions. All too often we give out pieces of paper in the classroom and students start deciding what they're going to do, rustling away, and they've probably halfway finished it incorrectly by the time you finish. So learning how to give adults really clear instructions. So motivating them, why are we going to do this, overviewing what the activity will be, setting out really clear parameters, so it'll be in this room, it'll take 5 minutes, and then also defining what the outputs will be like. So getting adults to learn to really listen, and it's part of learning how to plan. So planning before action. So we start to get them to understand that within the classroom. That's something that you need to use to engage the adult learner. Next top tip, meetups and power-ups, otherwise known as icebreakers and energizers. So you need to connect people with each other, and those are great ice-breaking activities so that people can get to know their colleagues or their peers in the classroom. And the next one is around energizers. Increasing levels of energy will increase people's ability to continue to learn. Next top tip, the power of storytelling. Of course, everything's better with a fairy tale and a happy ending, but if you can't have a happy ending, at least tell a story that creates some emotion, because adults learn by their emotions. So if you have adults feeling, it might be very sad or it might be very happy. As long as they're feeling, they're going to connect to what it is that they're learning. The second to last one is dealing with reluctant learners. We're all going to come across them. Adults are traditionally quite difficult to educate, and they come in sorts of the kinds of guises. I would say you're either going to cross the expert who already knows it all. That's great. You want to get them in there and helping you to teach other people who don't know as much. You're going to get the clowns or the comedians who think it's all a big joke. That's okay, and that's great to have fun, but we want to call for serious dialogue when it's required. Or you may find someone who's quite hostile and aggressive, and you need to address with them what are some of the experiences they may have had in a classroom before that is making it difficult for them, and they're putting up barriers. Make sure that you give yourself some questions. Is it the environment? Is it what you're trying to teach? Come up with a strategy, give yourself some mental space from that person, plan what you're going to do, and then act on that. It may mean actually discussing directly with the person the behaviours and how that might be impeding learning for other people. And the last one is evaluate, evaluate, evaluate. Evaluate is how you're going to get your return on investment. It is the thing that's going to provide you with your evidence. There's different levels according to Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation. You can do it as a reaction, smiley face. What have they learnt? What's the behaviour or skill or application? And what is the final impact and results? Because like anything, and I'm from the business school, if you can't demonstrate your return on investment, you ain't doing it right. Thank you.
Thank you.